Crashy, the cold front is on the way. It's looking pretty stinky cold next week across the state. But first, we're going to have to deal with the chance of thunderstorms on Sunday. And what about snow next week? Well, we're going to talk about it in this Friday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning, it's Friday, 3rd of January 2025. I'm Texas Storm Chaser's Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer, and yes, sirree, Bob, it is going to get cold next week. Now, we're not talking historic cold, we're not talking anything that's going to shatter records or anything, but it most definitely is going to be the coldest we've been so far this winter, and it's going to stay cold for a few days, so yay. Let's just get into it. Before we deal with any of that, we have to deal with the cold front that's going to bring it all. But that arrives Sunday. For the next 2 days, well, some light showers this morning across portions of the coastal plains, the Texas Gulf Coast. Fog this morning across the southeastern half of the state. That'll generally lift off and dissipate by 10, 11 a.m. this morning. Going into tonight and tomorrow, you can see we've got a lot of clouds across the state. That's not going to change very much. Maybe some modest clearing across the western third to half of the state tomorrow, but Saturday is looking pretty cloudy across the state of Texas, as you can see a winter storm beginning to gear up Saturday afternoon and Saturday night across the state of Kansas. That is a storm system that'll be responsible for bringing us the chance for showers and thunderstorms across the eastern quarter of the state Sunday, and then much cooler weather and, well, a taste of winter as we go into next week. Fire weather conditions over the next few days across the state of Texas. Today and tomorrow, we're generally looking at low to moderate fire danger across most regions of the state. On Saturday, the potential will be high. Western Panhandle, Borderland, Big Bend, the Trans-Pecos, Davis, Guadalupe Mountains. And then on Sunday, it looks like that high threat for fire danger will spread into West Texas, the Big Country, the Concho Valley, the Permian Basin, the Edwards Plateau, into portions of Central Texas. We may even see some very high fire danger in the Hill Country and Edwards Plateau on Sunday behind a dry line and before things cool off considerably going into Sunday night and Monday. Here's the American Weather Model Long-Range Global Forecast System. You can see, starting off right at the beginning of this run, line of storms moving across the eastern quarter of Texas late Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon. Some of those storms may have damaging wind gusts and maybe a very low threat of a tornado. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Otherwise, you can see the main area of low pressure moves off to the east pretty quickly in its way. Gusty north winds with Crashy, the cold front, going into next week, bringing a much colder air mass not only to Texas, but the eastern two-thirds of the continental United States. Now, going into Wednesday, you can see this model does start trying to spin out some snow showers from the Permian Basin, Big Country, North Texas, with increasing precipitation towards the end of this model run across the southeastern half of the state. Here's the deal on that. The American Weather Model, and I purposely didn't show this, on Thursday has a winter storm across Texas. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's got snow, sleet, freezing rain, and rain. Southeastern half, southeastern two-thirds of Texas. The European weather model, not a thing. It brings rain in on Friday. Reason I'm not showing you that off the global forecast system is I don't want to show you a spooky, super crazy, winter storm thing if it's not going to happen. And at this point, the overall, see, words can even be difficult to say too. The overall probability of winter storm is low. A little higher than yesterday, but still low. It is not the most favored solution. So, weather model data, boy, it's a Friday, continues to waffle back and forth quite a bit. And there are major disagreements not only among the deterministic singular weather model runs, but amongst their ensembles, which are dozens of the same model run under slightly different initialization parameters to kind of give a better idea of forecast confidence. So, Wednesday into Thursday is either going to be mostly dry across the state, or vice versa, it could be a little interesting in the winter mischief department. The overall fact of the matter is no one can tell you at this point. Your phone apps are probably going to be showing every solution from sunny and cold to winter storm of doom. And that's because most of the weather model app, or most of the weather apps, are run off model data and AI without human intervention. For what it's worth, our app is actually run using the National Weather Forecast Digital Forecast database, which is still, for at least now, human reviewed. So, shouldn't have any crazy whiplash with that. But that's the gist of it. Outside of Sunday, eastern quarter of the state, we're going to be mostly dry through at least Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday, we're just still going to have to wait and see which solution ends up verifying. But we're going to definitely be watching trends this weekend. And if the prospect for winter storm increases, hey, we'll tell you. I mean, not only because we like telling you what we think's going to happen, but have you guys seen what happens when we say snow on social media? Holy mother of mercy, does that cause everything to blow up and the algorithm gets happy? And that makes for a pretty happy Baldy-in-Chief and pretty happy marketing people too. But we're not going to do that just for the sake of marketing. We're going to wait and see if, hey, things actually look like it's going to happen versus, me trying to clickbait and make $15. So, here's Friday's severe weather outlook, except this is for Sunday, issued on Friday. I have to actually head to the airport in like 20 minutes, so my apologies. It's a very early morning. Here's the severe weather outlook for Sunday from the Storm Prediction Center as of Friday morning. You can see we have the potential for isolated to scattered severe thunderstorms across the Arklatex, East Texas, Brazos Valley, Southeast Texas, and the Golden Triangle. You might be mistaken for thinking this looks like an event from late December, and yeah, the risk outlook map actually does look pretty similar geographically, but there are differences here. At least for now, it looks like low-level wind shear is going to be less impressive, the moisture values less impressive, and instability values most definitely less impressive compared to the last event where we had, 70, 80 mile long EF3, almost EF4 tornado move across the Golden Triangle. Tornado threat for now is very low. Honestly, we may have to bump it up to low for East Texas, maybe far Southeast Texas. We'll see how things evolve, but damaging straight line winds do appear to be the primary most common hazard with thunderstorms late Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon as a line of storms quickly moves from west to east with Crashy the cold front. We'll keep you updated, most definitely, as we get into the weekend. And hey, you know what? Don't be scared, be prepared. But at this point, the tornado threat does not appear to rival that of the events we dealt with around Christmas Eve, the day after Christmas, and 3 days after Christmas. Forecast rain totals over the next 5 days. This takes us through 6 a.m. Wednesday, so shortly before the period of potential mischief. You can see rain totals have come up a bit across far southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle, the Piney Woods of East Texas, the Toledo Bend Reservoir. We're looking now at about a half an inch there of rain possible. 1/10 to a quarter inch of rain possible along and east of a line from, let's just go from Bonham and Paris to Tyler to just east of College Station. Just go back west towards Sealy, down towards Brazoria County, and points east. And a little bit possible down the Rio Grande Valley today. Otherwise, not looking at much for the rest of Texas over the next 5 days. Today's high temperatures, coolest in the Panhandle and the Red River, looking at 50s, otherwise 60s and 70s across the state. Enjoy it, because it's not going to do that next week. Tomorrow, Saturday's high temperatures, low to mid-50s northeast Texas and the northeastern Panhandle. 70s and 80s tomorrow across most of the state. We're looking at 80s, South Texas, Rio Grande Valley, Rio Grande Plains, and out into the Trans-Pecos, Southern Big Bend. Southern Big Bend will probably flirt with 90. I mean, that's not unusual for y'all. As we go into Sunday, guess what? It's Crashy the cold front time. How do you like high temperatures in the 20s? Because that's what it's going to be up in the northern Panhandle with wind chills in the single digits on Sunday afternoon. Guess what? For most folks, at least some of y'all across the western northern half of the state, high temperatures will be in the morning, with Crashy the cold front bringing much colder temperatures in during the afternoon. Still, it's going to be almost 90 in South Texas. We're looking at 70s to low 80s southeastern third to half of the state, 60s out in the Permian Basin, Big Bend, and the borderland. Enjoy it, because guess what? things come crashing down Sunday night, a freeze for at least the northern half of the state. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Monday's high temperatures, we're going to be in the 30s and 40s, northern half of the state. Parts of Texoma and North Texas may struggle to get out of the mid-30s. Same for the Arklatex. You could see Oklahoma mostly in the 30s and 20s for highs on Monday. It's going to be cold. We're looking at still low 60s, deep south Texas, Rio Grande Valley, Rio Grande Plains, 59 in El Paso. Here are Tuesday's high temperature forecasts. You can see for most of the state, we're either in the 30s, 40s, or 50s. Still low 60s in the Rio Grande Valley. Now, depending on trends, these temperatures may have to come down some across the northern half of the state, and some folks on Wednesday may struggle to get above freezing across the northern half of Texas. Low temperatures. Again, I want to emphasize this is not one of these crazy, historic, record-breaking, bullocks situations where we're going to be below zero or we're going to be, below freezing for days on end. Some folks may end up being below freezing for a day. Panhandle, Texas, Panhandle, Texoma maybe. Low temperatures, we're probably going to have multiple nights of hard freezes across the northern 75% of Texas, which means lows in the teens, 20s. Looks like at least one night, Tuesday night, Monday night, Wednesday night perhaps, where temperatures will get below freezing statewide, except the Rio Grande Valley, it looks at this point. So, yeah, it's winter. It's going to get cold. Doesn't mean, we're going to be in the 60s, 70s, and 80s all winter. Even if we do have a warm winter overall, doesn't mean we're not going to have cold snaps. I mean, good golly, sweet Molly, that's for sure. So, it's going to be cold next week. It's not going to be the kind of cold that's going to, cripple us. I mean, knock on wood, but we'll see. And of course, we'll have to see what evolves with the Wednesday-Thursday system, but truthfully, again, uncertainty is just too high at this point. There is a low probability that, we're going to have a winter storm with all sorts of fun, wintry mischief galore that'll make me get to say the magic snow word and make, the algorithm go happier than a hot dog. But at this point, that's a low probability scenario. So, it is that time of the week again where we get to give a special shout out to our Spinny Doomer members here on the Texas Weather Center YouTube channel. So let's start off by saying thank you to Anthony R. Pelosi for being a Spinny Doomer here on the Texas Weather Center. Love, Live, Laugh. Thank you kindly for being a Spinny Doomer here on the Texas Weather Center. R/Tornado Chats. Thank you kindly for being a Spinny Doomer here on the Texas Weather Center. Tomas Camachio. Thank you for being a Spinny Doomer here on the Texas Weather Center. Umbertito Lowry. Thank you kindly for being a Spinny Doomer here on the Texas Weather Center. Jen Kim, thanks for being a Spinny Doomer here on the Texas Weather Center. Ryan Tucker, thank you kindly for being a Spinny Doomer here on the Texas Weather Center. And Justin S., thank you very kindly for being a Spinny Doomer here on the Texas Weather Center. As I said a moment ago, I've got about 15 minutes to go before I have to hop in a car and go fly across the country. Remember that little Christmas severe weather issue we had? Yeah, I have to go fly across the country to actually do Christmas now, in between all this. So I'm going to go fly to the East Coast really quick. And by really quick, I mean real quick because I am flying back in about 36 to 38 hours, so we can be back in the office for severe weather coverage on Sunday if it's necessary. If it doesn't look necessary, well, good news. I'll just sit out on the East Coast and play in a winter storm on Monday, and then I'll fly back Tuesday. But regardless, we'll be here for you. That's going to be it for your Friday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. You can always get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radar, daily Texas weather roundups, and more in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps to your device. You can find us here on YouTube. Just search for Texas Weather Center. Y'all have a great Friday. God bless.